Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and I thought I'd share my first week with the Apple Watch. The first week with the Apple Watch, I've actually started to kind of like it, but not find a huge use for it. So let me show you. I'm going to take it off my wrist. I've had it on my wrist for pretty much every day from about 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning till about 7 at night every single day. So I've used it for, I would say, a full work day and then some, sometimes even 9, 10 at night. So it just depends on the day. So let me go ahead and remove it, and I'll show you how it's held up as well. So I have to remove it like this because, well, I have big hands and it fits over like that. But now it's off my hand, and what it will do is it actually locks the Apple Watch, something really neat. So if you're using Apple Pay, that sort of thing, it will actually lock. So now that it's unlocked, we can go into the interface, and it's actually tethered via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to my iPhone 6 Plus. Now it does affect battery some. Let me unlock my iPhone here. And we'll go into battery. And I don't know that we'll see a whole lot of battery usage from the Apple Watch, but we may. So we'll let that run for a second. But there we go. Not really. You don't see a whole lot of Apple Watch use. If you're using it a lot, it'll show up here. But I've used the Apple Watch as basically a notifier and, well, just kind of what I would think you'd use an Apple Watch for, some directions, things like that. Let's talk about what I'm impressed with first. The Apple Watch is built extremely well. It feels like one solid piece of metal. It's held up well, I think. Some people have reported scratches, and I have to say I have a couple right here. Let me bring it up really close and see if we can see any of those. So I don't know that you can see any, but there's some really light scuffs in sunlight that you can see right here. The screen is sapphire. It hasn't scratched a single bit. There's not one single nick scratch on it whatsoever. But the band has scratched quite a bit, and that's from just resting my wrist down on different surfaces, and I kind of expected that. But you can see it's scuffed up and scratched, and that just comes from everyday normal use, and that's really to be expected. But with this mesh, you're probably not going to see any wear. It really hasn't been an issue whatsoever. So it's held up pretty well there, and that's as far as the build and everything, I really have to say I really like it. Now the screensavers or the backgrounds or whatever you want to call this is probably my favorite. This is the jellyfish. If I push, force touch, and go to customize, we've got a couple different ones here. Well, this is to show the different dates. Let's go back this way. This is to adjust between the jellyfish, the flower, and the butterfly. I like the jellyfish. And we can just click home to lock it in or go back. And what it does to save battery is actually pretty much wait a second until you start to see the jellyfish. And then it's pretty aggressive with the battery. The battery shuts off really quickly, as you can see there, or the phone rather, or the watch rather, shuts off really quickly. And it's really aggressive with battery. But I charged it a little bit today, and you can see it keeps locking because it's not on my wrist. And that's a safety feature, so if you're using Apple Pay or don't want anybody into it, they can't get in. When it's on my wrist, it doesn't do that. So you can see it's at 60%. I find that really from about 5:15 in the morning when I first put this on until 7 or 8 at night, I've used only about 50% battery consistently throughout the entire week. So it's definitely holding true to the different battery, and it does pretty well there. So these are glances. So I'll just go over this quickly. The user interface is not like the iPhone, and it's not like a Mac or anything else. It's its own thing. If we swipe down from the top, we've got notifications. To clear those, we force press. Clear all. It'll clear. So we can force press to do that. If we slide down now, there's no notifications. Slide up, we're back to the home screen. If we force press here, this is where we can swap between our different faces. If I swipe up from the bottom, we've got glances. So this is activity, and these you set up on your iPhone. So you set everything up on your iPhone. You can see it's a little bit slow too. We swipe through, and that's glances. Now to get back to the home screen, we push the button or the crown, and then if we push it again, we go to our apps. We can zoom in here. So that's basically how that works. And then to get to your contacts, you push this once. You can see it lagged there. There we go. Push that, goes to your contacts. Push it again, it goes back. If I hold this button, it will give me Siri. How are you today? And you can see sometimes it doesn't work really well. How are you today? And it came right back. So it really understands voice well. It makes good calls. It's got a speaker right here and a microphone. And you don't have to hold it up to your face. You can hold it down at wrist level, and as long as you can hear this speaker, which isn't very loud, but it's loud enough usually, people can hear you just fine. People didn't know I was even on a watch. They thought I was on the phone. So that part's really good. Now, as far as everything else, I find the watch, unlike some people, I really have no use for it. I have to admit that so far, I don't really have a use. It lets me know when something comes in, and that's nice. It lets me know when I'm navigating, and that's nice. But if you're going to compare that to price, I would say it's kind of ridiculous at this point because it's a very much a 1.0 product. It's neat. I've only had one person in the entire week, and I guess it's one day now, that I've had it actually recognize that it was an Apple Watch. I don't see much excitement, but that doesn't mean there isn't excitement where you live. But right around me, so far, there haven't been a whole lot of people excited about it. I have to admit, I've shown a few people. I've used it at Starbucks a couple times, and only really had one comment the entire time, and that was at a car dealership. Then I was talking to someone. He asked me if that was the Apple Watch, and he didn't even know they were available, and asked how I actually got it. So that's kind of interesting. It's definitely a different scenario there. But you can see how aggressive this is with battery, and there's some different watch faces. I find that there's one that's a little more useful. But a little less exciting to look at. Let me see where it is. I think I passed it. But I tend to use throughout the week, I'll actually use this one because it's got a lot more information on it. So we've got battery, we've got our activity, we've got our temperature, where we're located, what day it is, and the time. And then you can see, are you going to drive that down here? That's a text, so let me reply. And then I can say absolutely. So you can see it's okay, but it's a little bit laggy and very much a first generation product. And I expected that, and I'm sure they'll have some updates, that sort of thing. But I wanted to say that I don't hate it, but I don't love it yet. I know some people absolutely love it. I've never been much of a watch wearer, though. And the Moto 360, actually, I'm very impressed by its interface a little bit more than I am with this interface, honestly. It's a little easier to navigate. The screen is definitely better looking, and the hardware is definitely nicer, but I think overall, I hate to say this, but Android Wear's interface feels a little bit more elegant to me. And I may be crazy, and some people may not agree, but I would urge you to try one before you make that judgment call. I do like the charging method here, where we just click this into place, and it charges. But I would love to see a dock. I think for the price of this, Apple should have created a dock that this sits on, very much like the Moto 360. For the price of this, I could buy 3 or 4 Moto 360s. So I don't think that's too much to ask. So I do like it. I'll keep wearing it before I do a full review, but I just kind of wanted to share some of those thoughts with you and then see what you think if you've tried one out or anything like that. So let me know in the comments below if you've tried one out, what you think of them. If you don't like one, that's fine. If you have no use for it, that's fine too. But just curious what you think about it and if you plan to get one, or maybe you're going to stick with the Android side of that, or maybe something else like a Microsoft Band or a Fitbit. Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.